All right, welcome back. So today we're back with another episode of what are you guys doing really wrong, and technically stuff that you don't really know that you're doing wrong. Those are the best videos on this channel, really. Like, it's one thing when you guys know that you're doing something wrong and you guys know that you're doing it wrong and you guys are asking me for tips on how to change it and how to reverse it. It is a completely different thing when you guys are all doing something and you guys don't even know that you're doing it wrong and you're not supposed to be doing that. And I can see it and you guys can't. Those are some of the best videos on this channel because I can really read you guys better than you can read yourself. And today's one of those topics. So today we're going to talk about, in a way it's wavering, but you don't know it's wavering. And that is the idea of identifying as a person who is doing techniques. So when it comes to techniques, yes, everyone loves techniques because most people can't just boom, live in the end. People can't just like zoom into it, the new you, and walk into the new you like you're walking into like your Iron Man suit. And now you're Iron Man. A lot of people can't do that. So there's techniques. People use techniques as the bridge to identify in their imagination who they are with their manifestation, because again, you will only express who you are in your imagination. If you're in your imagination, you're with them or you have the money, that will be expressed onto the 3D. Those are just the basics, of course. But with that knowledge, people say, well, I need a technique to get there. And unfortunately, these people, instead of actually doing the technique, they just identify as the person who is doing the technique. So they're not actually doing the technique. Again, the technique is just the bridge to get to your desire, the bridge to feel the new you. But too many of you just identify as the bridge. No, you're crossing the bridge. You're not the bridge. You're not, we are the bridge, okay? We are not the bridge. We are walking on the bridge to get our goal. That is what a technique is. But too many of you are identifying as the bridge. Too many of you are identifying as the person who is just doing techniques. So we're going to see how we can flip that in today's video. So yeah, that's the topic of today's video. If you do need more help with me, because again, I do help my comments a lot, but if you do want more help with me, if you do want extra help with me, it is the bottom link in the description down below where you can get in this whole group chat with me. And we can kind of discuss. I can understand your circumstance a bit better. It is at school.com. It is the bottom link in the description if you want to get more help with me. You can buy the annual pack. You can also buy the monthly pack, whichever one suits you best. And I can get your circumstances in a lot more detail if you guys just you can just talk to me directly in this group chat. So check that out if you want to get actual help with me. Anyways, let's get into today's video. So, like I was saying before the ad read, you can't identify as the person who is just doing techniques. Now, some of you will be saying, well, do I have to be completely unaware that I'm doing techniques? Well, you don't have to. A lot of people have manifested a lot of things with the awareness that they are doing a technique to get it. I would personally make the argument that those people did have a dominant state and they dominantly dwelled in the person of just having it. And only now and then, like maybe at the start of the day or at nighttime, those were like the only periods of time where they were actually identifying as the person who was doing the technique. But when it comes to you guys are identifying dominantly as the person who is just doing techniques and is trying to get their desire from these techniques. That is it. That is the person you are living as. Because again, your goal is to live in the end. You are living in the end as a person who is just doing techniques. And we know this because if I were to ask you right now, if I were to tell you right now, hey, do the intruder technique or do the interview technique, a lot of you, if you do the interview technique where someone is asking you how much money do you have, or are you still single, are you with them, most of you would answer that question with the old story, but as someone who is trying to overwrite the old story and doing techniques. you are identifying as a person who is doing techniques. That's wavering. You can't waver. Again, I've said this in hundreds of my videos. The only thing you can't do when it comes to manifestation is waver. Wavering is the Achilles heel of manifestation. You can't waver. You can do anything else, literally anything else. You can talk to your water. You can do the O method. You can script. You can, I don't know, have some visions if you want. Like, you can pray like a religious person. You can do literally anything you want to get your desire, as long as you identify as the person who is doing that to get their desire, and they'll get their desire if they finish that and they fulfill that requirement. The only thing you can't do is waver. The only thing you can't do is waver. The only thing you can't do is doubt. Again, the word Satan in the Bible means doubt. That's the only thing you can't do. And when you are identifying as a person who is doing techniques, that's wavering. Your goal is to live in the end goal. Why are you're not living in the end goal. You're living as a person who is still on the bridge, not at the person in the destination. Live in the end goal. If I were to tell you that you have to identify as a person who already has a six-pack and already has amazing long biceps, and you have those like Brock Lesnar traps, and you got those The Rock legs. If I told you to identify as that person, would you identify as the person who was like scrawny and is still going to the gym, and one day you will get to that person? No, you got to live in the end. And you guys are not living in the end. You guys are still identifying as the person who is trying. Now, sure, you can still manifest through that. I'm not saying you can't manifest through that, but you are dominantly assuming you are a person that is trying, and you will do techniques, and hopefully one day it happens. You can't do that. You can't waver. I hate to tell you this. You have to identify as the person who already has it. And the way you do this is you try hardest to be unaware of the techniques. Again, you don't have to be literally unaware of the techniques, but make sure in your mind that you are identifying as the person who already has your end goal, and you already have the desire in your hand, and that is accessible to you now, and you can touch it right now, you can feel it right now, than the person who is trying to do something. And by the way, if you are a person who is trying to do something, naturally, you will very quickly fall into the spiral of how is it going to come here. And then you will constantly worry about the how. You will constantly worry about the time, saying like, oh, you'll be impatient. And what if this doesn't happen before Christmas? And what if I don't have the money before my birthday, or whatever it may be? Your goal is to lock into position and cover all your flanks. And the way you do that is to live in the end in your imagination. You guys are not doing that. You guys are wavering. You guys are being thrown around by the 3D. You guys are being thrown around by the how. And this is not what I teach. This is a form of wavering. So this is a little bit of a very secret tip I'm giving you. Because I haven't really seen anyone talk about this. I've been in the manifestation community for years. Okay? The bad and the good. For better or for worse. And I have not heard anyone really say this. I have not heard anyone talk about this, but as someone who can read people very well, and someone who has been in this manifestation community for years now and has been critical of myself when it comes to this stuff, I promise you a big thing that a lot of you guys are doing wrong is when you guys are wavering, you guys don't know that you're wavering because you are still manifesting as a person who is doing the techniques. So when you robotically affirm, in your imagination, you still see yourself as a person who is just robotically affirming to get what they want, and you pull yourself out of it every time you affirm. You pull yourself out of that state immediately, and you guys go back into the old you of someone who is still trying to get something, and the person who doesn't have it, and you live in the end, and the affirmations going into one ear and out the other. So you have to lock into position. And I highly recommend, in order to confront this, in order to deter this, you need to do the interview technique. The interview technique, or the intruder technique, I have videos on it both, so just search it up on my channel. But throughout the day, when you are doing your techniques, if you want to know if you are more aware of the technique than you are actually living in the end, you have to ask yourself the question multiple times a day, maybe 4 times a day. if someone were to ask me if I got the money now or if I'm trying to get the money now, what would be my first response? Is it trying? Is it I will robotically affirm? I'm robotically affirming and eventually I will externalize? If that's the answer, then you're still living in the old you. You just created a new version of the old you and you're still wavering. And that's why you don't have it. So I highly recommend you do the intruder technique multiple times a day or the interview technique multiple times a day. Just 4 times a day, that's more than enough. And really ask yourself the question, am I living in the end, which again is the only goal, is your goal to change the dominant you in your imagination, of course? Or am I being a little bit of a bitch boy right now and I'm pretending I know what I'm doing, but I actually have no clue if this is actually going to work and I'm just kind of hoping for the best. You understand? Your goal is to change your dominant you in your imagination. The father, their imagination. Your goal is to change the dominant you in your imagination. And if the dominant you in your imagination is a person who is trying, person who is doing techniques, and not actually the person who is in the end goal already, then don't ever complain to me that you don't have it because you did not do what I'm telling you to do. Okay? It's like someone who wants to do bodybuilding and they go on TikTok for 3 hours a day searching up bodybuilding tips and tricks, and then they never go to the gym. It's like, that's not going to the gym, dog. That's what you guys are doing. You guys are not actually doing the work. You guys are just like doing research on the work. You're kind of doing the work because again, some of the like knowledge can go into your brain or something when it comes to the gym, but you're not really doing anything. So yeah, that's the point of today's video. Actually do this stuff. Stop being aware of the technique throughout most of the day and do the interview technique and the intruder technique to do a progression bar and see where you are. And grade yourself and see how you did throughout the day when it comes to living in the end, okay? So yeah, there's a little very secret tip for you because a lot of people don't talk about this stuff, but yeah. Anyways, hopefully that helped you. If you do want to have more help with me, again, it is the bottom link in the description if you want to join me in this group chat. It is at school.com. School is spelled with a K. It is the bottom link in the description. So if you do want more help with me, check that out. Again, you can buy the annual pack. You can also buy the monthly pack, whichever one suits you best. Yeah. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully my weird little beard pimples didn't screw you, make the video look a little bit weird. I know it looks a little bit weird right now. I don't know how, I think I was sitting on grass, even though I don't leave the house. But one time I decided to leave the house, I sit on grass and I think that I screwed up my face a little bit and on the mouth a little bit. And then I did a shave. I look a little bit weird right now. I know. It'll be fixed tomorrow. But yeah, anyways, that's for today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe. And yeah. Peace out.